Hey everybody, this is James White here with Crafted for Glory, and I'm here at the coffee shop slash cigar lounge here in Columbus, and it's a slower moment here at the cigar lounge itself, so I'm going to take the opportunity to continue working on this Bible that I have been trying to knock out for someone local here, and I attempted to make a video of the liner and showing everyone the process of that. But starting something new, it doesn't always go as you want, and for whatever reason, it just didn't record the actual portion of the video that was about the liner itself. And so, what I have here is just this older Bible that was originally lined with something similar in color, but she has used it for years and it has fallen apart, and it's just such a great opportunity for me to take a Bible such as this one that was gifted to this individual over 30 years ago for Christmas, and take and to redo it. And she has marked holidays and birthdays, and she has marked anniversaries and all of those things on inside of this Bible. And so it's an honor for me to take such a treasured item for somebody and to redo it and to make it partly new again. And that's one reason that I really kind of fell in love with Bible rebinding and stuff. But just to kind of explain what we're going to be doing for this short video is I'm going to start the process of creating the actual cover of the Bible. And Bibles have liners and they have covers. The liners are the inside aspect of the Bible itself, and then the cover is on the outside. And a lot of times they tend to be the same color. Oftentimes people can have different colors, and but for this one we're going with the same color for the inside and the outside. And I know that if you look right here, it looks like it would be a different color than this, but that's just the inside of the hide. And so let's get to work. And as I work, I'm gonna just walk you through a little bit about what we're trying to do here at Crafted for Glory and why we want to expose and show some of the rebinding process of a Bible. The first reason, very plainly, is that when I started rebinding Bibles, I was working full-time at the post office and part-time at the church. And when I found myself in those two settings, there was always something more to be done. Yes, I would finish a sermon and I would get to preach said sermon, but there was always Monday that I would have to prepare again for the next week. And there was always counseling situations, and yes, I would have the joy of seeing people come out of those circumstances and situations, but there would always be more problems because we live in a fallen and just messed up world due to sin. And so, in the post office world, there was always more letters and packages to move. There was always holidays. There was always something. And it became quite exhausting to always do something that there would not be any tangible results from. And I think that in a lot of ways, both men and women, but me being a man, thinking through it for myself, men are created to do things and to work with their hands and to be creative. And so the first reason why I got into Bible rebinding in and of itself is because, one, I like Bibles and I had someone do it for me, but primarily because I wanted to start doing something with my hands that would see a project start to finish and be able to step back and to rest and to look and to see what had been done. And So like with this Bible, at the end of this process, not only will I get to see what it looks like, but I will get to see the face of the individual when I give it to them, and the joy they have in seeing their Bible come back to life. And so that's kind of why Bible rebinding specifically, but why crafted? Why is this channel called Crafted for Glory? And certainly there's been other videos by now, most likely, that has explained this. But, I believe that the Bible is clear that God has created man and women as in his image, as his image bearers, for the purpose of tending to what he has created. He did not create man and woman to live in a garden and live simple and easy lives per se, but rather he created them, gave them the charge to be fruitful and to multiply, and in that they were also to tend to and to take care of the creation in which God had handed them as this vice heirs, this image bearer of God. And I think what oftentimes gets mixed up in that, as we discuss these things, is that people they just don't understand, or they forget about the fact that this occurred before the fall of humanity into sin. So work is not something that God has given us as punishment, but rather work is something that God has given us as a purpose and as a way to represent and to expose who he is calling us to be and to bring him glory in it. And so as we seek to expose this idea of being crafted for glory, that's exactly what it's for. It's to highlight and to note the different ways in which God has crafted us and guided us and led us as individuals on this channel and as a family to bring him glory in the pursuits of our life. The Bible rebinding, the coffee roasting, the entrepreneurial aspect of starting businesses, really the process of opening up said businesses or owning businesses that allow for conversations and relationships, such as the cigar lounge. And even want to highlight how different people are in those industries crafting things for the glory of God and taking what he has made and making it into the different things that he has certainly inspired humanity to do and to honor his creation well. And so Crafted for Glory is a channel where not only do I want to talk about Bible rebinding, but I want to talk about all of these other things. But back to the Bible. So you saw me trace out the area in which the Bible liner is going on to what's the cover here, and now I am gluing the liner to the cover, as you saw me put all the glue down and to spread it out with this little tool. And now I take the little roller and I just roll out all the air bubbles and all of the creases within the leather to help it glue and to adhere to the leather underneath. Then we move on to the middle pieces and then the other side. I really wish that you guys could have seen the previous video highlighting how to make a liner, but I guarantee there will be more opportunities sooner than later on being able to see that process. And as I plan to do this often, it's just a way to just display using our hands for the glory of God. Now I'm doing the same thing as I did on the other side, just putting glue down to then spread it out evenly and then roll the liner onto the cover. And then you'll see that I'll cut off some of this leather and I will flip it over and do the same thing. And while I do this, just some thoughts about, learning and knowing how to do things, is that I am certainly not the best Bible rebinder there is. There's guys out there, Jeffrey Rice, and there's a guy up in North Mississippi, not too far from where I'm at, that I believe Jones's Bible rebinding. And they do excellent, solid work, and so much so that I believe Jeffrey's been able to make it a full-time thing for him. And he does work that's fantastic. Like, I wish that I could be half as good as he is. And, this has been more of a hobby for me for the last few years. And I hope to grow this craft and this ability. But in all reality, is that it takes that. It takes that work. We don't learn how to do things naturally in all occasions. Certainly there's people that are more gifted at some things than others, but generally speaking, we have to learn how to do things in life. For example, I think of any trade school or any job where someone is using their hands regularly to work and to do, or even someone that's learning to cook for their family or to grill or to any of these things, is that you have to learn them. I didn't get into my preteen age knowing how to cut grass with a lawnmower, but rather I had to be taught how to cut grass, and I had to learn it from someone. And generally speaking, most of my things in life, I've taught myself how to do them. I've taught myself how to do Bible rebinding and all of those things. But it's not that I did it in a vacuum either, right? I've watched videos such as this one. I've read books. I've looked at diagrams. And, I just want to try to get at here is, don't let the fear of not knowing how to do something to be a reason not to learn how to do something. And if it's a way that you can highlight something amazing and to do it in such a way of excellence, even though it may not always be perfect, that you can do it with excellence in mind, then do it. Learn how to do it for the goodness of the craft, and to be fruitful and to be working with your hands, but also just to bring God glory in it. So pause from there, though. Is what we're doing now is I've got this little marker that helps me create the overlap that will make this Bible look nice and together. So it'll fold over the liner onto, and so it'll kind of connect the outside cover to the inside liner. And this is just 1 as a ½ inch overhang. And I've done different things over the years, but finding these little markers have been the most beneficial and helpful things for me. And then I hope at the end of this video, though I won't get to show you the entire process, maybe one day I'll do a long form video where you get to see start to finish. But this process can be, anywhere between 2 to 4 hours, depending on the extent of the damage and depending on the length of the drying of the glue. And so probably best just to do videos with different segments, unless I have the opportunity one day to just sit down and do an entire Bible without stopping. And then maybe I can add some markers in the video that you could jump from one section to the other so that it'll make more sense. But for now, I just plan to do it in different segments here. And I hope that at some level you're enjoying seeing this process unfold, because a lot of times we don't see how things are done. We don't see how, even how Bibles are made in factories. But we know that there's a process that is being done, and done in such a way that was being honoring to those who are doing it. And, that's one of the aspects of Bibles and rebinding Bibles is that, on this leather here, this was an animal that gave its life up, and most likely its meat was provided for people to eat and to enjoy. And certainly leather can be used in different forms and fashions, oftentimes in clothes or vehicle seats or furniture, or in this case, Bibles. And so what we're doing in using this material is taking what God has given humanity, and he's doing it and using it in a way that would be honorable to him. And I think that a way that is honorable to God, to take something such as animal hide, is to wrap the word in and to use it, to protect and to use as we read God's word. And so this process is a tedious process. It's not hard, but it is time consuming. And what I'm doing is, as I said, kind of building this flap in. And when I get to the edges, I'm kind of just going around the edge. And I'll show you in a minute what this looks like, but it creates a circular portion of the actual edge itself to give me a template to cut out so that it matches the other corners well, instead of it looking off-sided or things of that nature. So as you see, creating this trace all the way around so that we then can take our ruler and cut off those pieces. I generally start with the shorter parts so that my ruler will fit the length of the longer portion of the Bible block. You don't always do it perfect the first time or the second. It's just the nature of trying to get it all right. But you can't get flustered or upset when you mess up a little thing, or you'll end up messing up the entire project and having to start over. once again, it's just working out those bubbles, pushing down any creases in the leather, just making sure it's nice and concise and glued down evenly and well, so that it'll hold for many years to come. And so this is the process of this Bible, of just getting it ready to fold these edges over all the way around, and then we'll take the block and we'll put it back in the center here and glue it on each side, and then we'll put some paper to cover up the leather, and that'll maybe be in another video. But for now, this is just gluing down the liner on top of the cover, cutting around the edges so that it'll be ready for the next step. And until the next video, my hope, my desire is that as we seek to grow this channel for whatever the Lord may have in store, is that each and every one of us would bring God glory in all that we do. And so my encouragement to you, as anyone watching, maybe you're just wanting to learn how to rebind a book or a Bible or whatever, but there is a creator of this world that has made you for a purpose and for a cause, and he is calling you to represent him in that purpose and cause. And the way that you do that is trusting in Christ, depending upon him in each and every part of your life, and in everything that you do, to bring him glory. And so till the next time, I hope that you will bring God glory and God much glory in all that you do. Thank you for watching this segment of Crafted for Glory.